Good evening and welcome to the coffee table. Today we're going to talk about a subject that I think every one of us now realizes is probably going to be the making or unbreaking of Pakistan, in the sense that it is such a huge problem and we need solutions and we need fast solutions. So we're going to talk about education, and we have with us Dr. Murad Raas, who is the Minister of Education in Punjab. So welcome.
Thank you very much.
Since I outrank you in Asian, I'm just going to call you Murad.
That'll be good enough.
That'll be good enough?
Yes.
So the New Deal. Right?
Yes.
So this is the policy that has just recently been articulated, and it's in a very short, cut down form. So we'll talk about that. What is the problem that we face in education right now? If we were to distill it into 2 or 3 parts only.
I think the way it has been dealt with before, there was no political will behind it.
Right.
We would have never gone to this condition the way we are in. The condition we're in right now is it is just a huge challenge. Mm-hmm. It is literally a horrible condition right now. Everybody knows about it. I'm talking about the public sector. I'm not talking about the private sector at all. And there was no political will. They were running it as if it was run like you're running a livestock or something kind of department. Whereas it is like the most important thing for a country and for generations to come. The education is. So what we thought that we should at least take 2 or 3 things and at least start working on them. Because anything you'll do in education, it's not going to show up right away. It'll take years down the road. So I'm not here to tell you that I'm making a 5-year plan. I made a 20-year plan.
Wonderful.
Because I'm not worried about all the governments that come into power. They are worried about their next election, that after 5 years where we'll be. I'm not worried about the election. I'm worried about our children and where they're going to be 20 years from now. So we picked up 3 things. Number 1 is learning. Number 2 is access to the schools. Number 3 is governance. I think if we can fix these things in the next 5 years, I think we'll be on some kind of a track to moving public education in the right direction.
Okay. So what comes first? Does access come first, or governance comes first, or learning?
I told you in the exact order: learning, access, and then governance.
No, but what were they doing? Because all we have heard from Shehbaz Sharif government is that they were doing a lot of things about education in Punjab. They even had their own schools, the Danish schools, and I've heard those schools are doing a great job. I don't know where those schools are, but I've heard about them.
Danish school is the biggest white elephant.
No, if you had to summarize it for somebody, for instance, if you had to tweet it, put it in about 280 characters, what was the fundamental thing that they weren't doing? And
they
nothing
were
was happening.
Only talking. Why do you think the private schools took off? When we were going to school, people went into public schools. The public school the child that did not get an admission because he was not a good student, he had to go to private schools. If you remember, 25 years, 30 years ago, that's the way it used to be. Everybody used to go to public schools. 35 years ago, 35 years ago.
We were talking about public schools, or are we talking about missionary?
No, I'm talking about public schools also.
Government colleges.
People never used to think about going to private schools because they were, the child who could not get an admission used to go to private school. Now, why did the private schools go up so much? It was the failure of the government.
When the state fails,
state fails,
a vacuum.
And you leave the vacuum, somebody's going to fill it up.
Plus, so it's big business.
Absolutely.
It's really, really big business.
It is.
So space also was created by the state for these. If I recall correctly, the 2008 assembly, there were 139 members in those assemblies who were in the business of education.
Imagine. Imagine.
It is still. But they still didn't do anything for education.
Well, they were making money off it. They were running their own schools. They were running their own tuition centers.
Now when you say that you have a plan for the next 20 years, but I completely agree. I understand that that's what makes sense. The entire system has to change. And when you say system, you're talking about the books, you're talking about teachers, you're talking about the infrastructure, everything. But when you're talking to normal, regular people, the Aam Aadmi for which these schools are, they would be upset. I mean, they would be disappointed to hear that nothing no real difference is going to be made in the way their children are being educated right now. So what would you say to them? Is there anything?
Oh, absolutely.
Is there anything that you're doing that would make them?
I have a team that is working on the curriculum right now as we speak. We started working on it in the first week that we got this ministry.
Yeah.
We are going to bring Iqbaliyat and mixture of religion. So it is like a mixture of technology and religion both, that it's okay to do both things at the same time. You don't have to go the religion way, or you don't have to go the technology way, or any other way. They have to be combined together to make a balanced personality of a child, that it's okay to be there. So we're working on bringing Muslim heroes back. Let the children know what their history was. From the time of Medina Riyasat till now, who were the heroes? What did they do? Bring those things and replace them with Mr. Chips and all the other garbage that we're teaching to our kids right now. We are going to, at the end of the day, at least this is my target for the next year, March 2020, that we should be able to give better curriculum to our primary schools, at least grade 1 through 5. That is my target. It's a huge target, it's a huge challenge.
Now,
Very
when
important.
we speak of curriculum, right?
Yes.
So one of the big questions that always comes is there are three different tiers, or there are three different kinds of systems operating. There are the
Yes.
state schools, there are the private schools, and then there are the madrasas.
Yes.
And Imran Khan has always been talking about aligning them and
Absolutely.
about a
Uniform
single
education.
curriculum
Absolutely.
that is taught to all the children in all the schools, in any manner that education is being imparted. How do you make that happen?
Easier said than done.
It's very hard. I'll tell you how we'll approach it. I've talked to him to the Prime Minister about this too. First, we're going to do it in our schools, in public schools. Next step is madrasa and private school at the same time. All right? You have to do this step by step. You cannot take everybody on at the same time.
Right.
So we are talking to them already, but at a very low level right now, because we want to fix our system first. We have 52,000 schools.
Yeah, absolutely.
So 52
and we're talking, this is Punjab, right?
That's Punjab, yes.
Right.
So fix 52,000 first before you want to go to 53,001.
Sure.
So it is just a huge challenge. And you'll see that when you were talking about if we can fix the curriculum in the next
The most
5
important
years, we give in public sector better education than what private sector is giving.
Yeah.
People will come to you.
Of course they will.
No, when
The reason they're not coming is because you're not giving them anything.
Of course they will.
You're teaching them not what the quality of teaching is just not there.
When you mention the word religion, you know, that's a scary word for a number of people these days, the way religion has been used to do many bad things in Pakistan. You know, the way the essence of the religion has been completely distorted when it comes to people who have used religion for anything in Pakistan. So I want you to throw some light on this.
No,
okay?
please, absolutely.
Religion, when
It
you
is
say
a
religion,
balance.
what does it
It is
mean?
a balance
Of
teaching what your history was. Our children do not know.
But that's a different dimension. That's not really
Religion.
as such.
You mean Islamic history?
Islamic history, Islamic heroes, Islamic what was really done, that why did what was our history for the first 60, 70 years after the Prophet? What really things happened? Our children have no idea about these things.
Okay,
But also,
their
why not
values.
subcontinental history?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Our
One of the-
history
one
is
of
not
the-
just Islamic history.
No.
So,
I'm talking about only the heroes. Instead of bringing other heroes of Western heroes, why
the
not bring
mathematicians,
the
the
scientists,
physicists, the
the
scientists?
Muslim
Yes,
scientists
of
that
course.
brought all these things, and we have never highlighted them.
Okay, let me debate that one with you.
All right, there we go.
I have to debate this.
All right.
It should not matter, right, who the scientist was or who the scholar was. Or the West calls him Avicenna, we call him Avicenna,
Take it.
right? So Averroes and you know, all these things are there. So we have a rich cultural tradition also, more than religion. Amrita Sen, who's a professor at Harvard, right? So he has a very interesting thesis on identity and its intersection with violence. It says no individual is a single identity. You have multiple identities in every single individual, right? So there is a cultural context to you, there is a faith context to you, there's a geographical context to you, there's a linguistic context to you. These are multiple identities.
Great.
And what works best is when you treat these multiple identities as part of one single person, right? And accept that. Now, I think Mehr touched on it, so I'm going to go a little deeper into that. I think the big portion of our religion is the understanding of ethics and the understanding of an equitable society.
Humanity.
Right? So
It teaches you
humanity,
humanity.
absolutely. Empathy
Absolutely.
for the weak within society.
Absolutely.
That's the bedrock. That is the key building block, right, of our own faith and our own religion.
Absolutely.
That
Feeling the pain.
the feeling,
I'm
the pain
so-
of everybody.
the person that is next to you.
absolutely.
Feel their
I'm
pain.
going off subject, but when
Yeah.
you mentioned, the Muslim heroes, this is this person on Twitter. His name is Sheikh Azhar Nasir. All of you should follow him because he talks about Islam, but in a manner that
I'm a leader, I don't
that
follow.
that is totally relatable. He's very funny. So he said he's Ibn Sina, not Avicenna. He's Ibn Rushd, not
Yeah.
Averroes.
yeah.
Averroes, he's Jabir Ibn Hayyan, not
Yeah, yeah.
Geber.
yeah.
Stop Latinizing the names of Muslim scholars
Yeah.
to conceal the fact that they were Muslims. You don't see us calling Shakespeare Sheikh Zubair. it makes a lot of sense.
but-
There were like 15,000 favorites.
I'll tell you where I'm looking at it, right? So education is a holistic thing, right? It's about learning, it's about development, it's about your own mind being developed from a child.
Absolutely.
A child is a sponge, right?
Absolutely.
The most formative years are those early years.
First 5 years.
Yeah, first 5. That's why they say even up to fifth grade. Fifth grade.
मैं वही कह रहा हूँ, first 5 years, from 5 to 10 years old.
Absolutely,
You-
that's it.
you told me
That is
something
that is the critical time period.
Yes.
So at that critical time period, now I have here a small little thing on the Finnish school system. Right, Finnish education is considered to be the best in the world now,
Yes, it is.
even over and above the Japanese
I agree.
system that they used to be considered. And what they say is, don't put a child in school too early.
Yes.
Right. Doesn't have to go to school too early.
No homework, nothing.
Right? No homework, no standardized testing.
Right.
Right? Because every child is different.
Absolutely.
So grade a child or, see the way you need to intervene with a child, with each individual child.
Agreed.
The other interesting thing is teachers. And say, if you have the right kind of teachers, if you have the teachers with the high standards,
That's the key.
you don't need to go and hold them accountable also. Because they will hold themselves accountable.
I will hold you there for 1 second and I'll
Yeah.
tell you what I've learned in 6 months.
Yeah.
Whichever school has a good head teacher
Yes.
or a principal,
Absolutely makes all the difference.
90% of the problems in that
all
school
the
are done.
I agree.
One
we're
good
gonna,
person
We're
you
going to come
need.
back. We're going to take
okay.
a short break and we'll come back.
Because I want
right,
to
so
ask
we're going
him
to take a
about-
break. This discussion is going to continue. I think it's just beginning to heat up a little. So we're going to have a lot of fun with it. So take a break and come back with that. Welcome back. So, Doc, we were talking about the Finnish school system. We were
Yes.
talking about teachers. They happen to be the critical component. The head teacher, like you said,
Absolutely.
is the critical component. You are lucky enough that your child is in a school, a state school, where the head teacher, right, is well qualified, he's motivated, he's going to make all the difference
All the
to your
difference.
life.
90%, as
No,
I'm
but
telling you.
superficially, how would you motivate a teacher? Because right now, most of the people who become teachers are people who don't seem to
See,
get jobs
I-
anywhere else.
I think what I have seen, because I've been here for a very short time right now, is that we really did not focus on the quality. We were focused on numbers, filling in the numbers, and that's it. We did not care. And this was like the most important thing to care about. That the person who's going to teach our kids the future of this country has to be absolutely A+, or at least an A.
Sure.
So, and we never thought about
So the selection system,
And
right?
you,
The teacher training,
when
right?
I talked to you, you told me that you were going to change the language because
Yes.
a few years ago they changed it to English.
Yes, English medium.
For all schools, English medium.
Yes.
The the medium.
The medium of
language.
yeah, sure.
But
Medium
you
of
said
teaching.
that doesn't really make sense.
It does not.
Worldwide data says your natural
language.
tongue,
Yes.
right, is where
You
you're going
said
to learn
exactly
more,
the same
right?
thing.
We're doing that.
And we
Shahbaz
go-
Sharif.
If you go back into the history of Punjab, right, so under Ranjit Singh, you almost had 95, 96% literacy in Punjab.
Absolutely.
It's only Macaulay who came in, changed the whole system, and suddenly you were back to 0.2%.
But
or
why
something
did you
like that.
decide to? What happened? What did you find out?
I think if you really study this, it has been done in different countries, and it has failed. You cannot, a child cannot comprehend in a foreign language.
Yeah, you're struggling.
They have to know, you have to tell them the basic concepts for the first 5 years.
Yeah.
The 5 years that
Yeah,
we're talking
absolutely.
about from primary school, they have to understand it in their own language. And you teach English as a language subject, side by side, so that when they go into the 6th grade, in the 6th grade, English is not a foreign language to them.
So unfortunately, it depends on where you come from. Because our children, when they start school, they start to study everything in English.
I will tell you, it is such a mess that one day this previous Chief Minister, Shahbaz Sharif, gets up and says in 2009 and 2011 twice, or change everything to English medium.
Yeah.
Think about these things. You have to think and analyze before you make such a big move.
You have to think it through.
And you cannot just, and do you know what is happening now? Punjab Textbook Board is printing everything in English.
Right.
Kids are throwing it away and going to the market and shops and buying Urdu books. This millions, hundreds of millions is spent on printing free books. It's going to drive
because
trash.
even their parents can't help them study at home, right?
No. So we have to go back to our basics. We have to get the basics right.
Have you got any data on what is the reaction of parents? Because general kind of conventional wisdom is that parents at the bottom of the pyramid are really not interested in putting their kids in school, or they take them out of school the moment they hit their early teens, because there is an economic compulsion, not necessarily because they can't pay for the school, but because they believe that the child is now at that age when they can be productive, right? So you're streaming through from primary to secondary, right? There's a dropout rate, a high dropout
Over 50%.
rate. Over 50%. That is frightening, isn't it?
It's horrendous.
Yeah.
Number one, if you give them quality, you give them good education, they will realize that keep them in school, they're gaining something.
So ROI.
Exactly. Exactly.
That there will be a job at the end of that education.
I'm going to hold you to that one.
That
you have really put your...
Oh, God.
So, it is, number one, that.
Yeah.
And number two, the second thing that I've talked about in here is access.
Yeah.
For the girls and for the boys. The schools are not close. The elementary school is not close enough. The secondary school is not close enough.
Yeah, it is.
So what have we done?
Yeah.
In this you will read, we're starting an Insaf school program. It's an afternoon school. Use the same building in the afternoon for primary, for elementary school.
That's been tested in KP, wasn't it?
It was, but it really did not take off because they're still working on it.
Right, okay.
And we are going to start that in 20 districts in the next 60 days. And we're going to go with 500 schools. Not only are we because this is out of school children, bringing them back.
Yeah.
This is one of the things of bringing kids back. We're not only giving them education, we will provide them with transport. We're giving bicycles to the boys in rural areas. We're giving paid vouchers to the girls. I've already done it in 2 districts, in Muzaffargarh and Bahawalpur. We did it. Excellent program.
It works.
Oh, this is
wonderful.
It works.
So we're starting this in 20 districts in March.
Okay, let me share another...
what did you say about the job thing?
Yeah, about the job. Why do we only train and educate to go get a job?
Because poor
people
who do not have money need jobs.
I'll tell you why I'm saying I'll tell you why I'm saying this. I even asked the same question of TCF and said, when these kids come through school, okay, where do they go next? What percentage makes it to college? Right? Okay, fine. Anything up to 9% make it to college or through college. What about it? After then, where are the jobs? 1.4 million jobs are required every year. And the numbers are going to increase.
So what should they do?
Entrepreneurship, skill development, skill training.
आपको बताऊं मैं क्या करने जा रहा हूं. क्योंकि
I completely agree.
I've done my homework.
You will only tell us, but you first tell us, why do you crave lobia sandwiches?
Interesting. I don't know. I've always loved lobi.
What?
Yes. How is he know it?
That's a horrible
I eat it almost every day. With anything that I'm eating, I'll have
know?
I don't know. He found out.
Lobia. Oh my God.
Yes.
That's
Research.
Doesn't smell good.
That's all protein.
It's all protein.
Yes, it's all protein.
So now we've settled that.
It's bad
Yes.
smelling.
So what about,
we can talk
yeah.
about biryani.
We'll go
I
to
will
that.
tell you that now Lobia, we have to go back to where were we at?
The job.
We were
thing.
talking
You
about the
said
jobs.
What
Okay.
you're doing
Now,
about it.
when a week ago, I was in London. I met with Microsoft and I met with Google.
Yeah.
I've asked them to come here.
Sure.
For the first time, officially coming to Pakistan. This summer, inshallah, they'll be here. I have asked them that not all kids are going to go to school after 10th grade.
Yes.
And that is just the way it is.
Yeah.
We cannot change that.
Yeah.
So I've asked them.
Even in the West, 9% make it to college.
Absolutely.
Right?
So I said, why can't not every child has to become a plumber?
Yeah.
Not every child has to work at a store.
Sure.
Why can't we give them better skills?
Absolutely.
And because the new world
So
is
important.
technology.
Huh.
In grade 9th and 10th, let's offer them software development
Yeah.
courses so that they can go work in an office.
But
I'm
why
so
9th
happy
and
to hear
10th?
that.
They should be learning how to code at the age of 7.
Sir,
They-
we
they
are already
start.
starting
Huh.
that. No,
What
no,
they
we're
should-
already starting that.
Yeah.
I'm saying that these kids, let's
As
say
a
they
skill.
drop out of 10,
Yeah.
after 10,
As a money-making.
will have a certification of Microsoft. Now imagine you walk into a job place and you have nothing
So
else.
you have skills for the world market,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. For the future.
That's where
They
the
can
jobs
even
will be.
work from
No,
their
even
homes.
today.
Huh.
Absolutely.
Even today, the jobs are going to be in the world market, not necessarily close to your own home.
So,
right?
I'm just telling you that we're going to do that, and we are bringing technology. Without technology, we are left so far
How
behind
much-
right
well,
now.
Honestly, all governments say these things.
No, no,
While
no.
you are doing different.
I'm telling you.
What is the difference between you and who was the education minister?
Rana Mashood.
Yes, I remember.
I
Did he
think there's a
bring
bit of
technology?
difference here.
Rana
Where-
Mashood.
was he on this show speaking English like this? I hope.
There's a
English,
bit of a
English
difference.
cannot be the
No,
criteria.
I'm just saying that. I mean,
Do not be elitist.
no, I'm not being elitist. I'm
I'm
just
just
saying,
kidding.
would he be able to convince you of the things that he's doing? Because I think if you don't believe in what you're doing, because I did not ask anybody else to write this for me or do anything for me.
You did
This
it
was our
yourself.
own thoughts. We did it ourselves. We did not involve
This is
all
not
the
a
foreign.
team. This is not
Yeah,
some.
no foreign consultants.
No foreign
right?
consultants.
Or
This is
koi
no foreign
unknown
consultant.
team, the group of people
This is no
sitting.
foreign
No
consultant.
Michael
This-
Barber.
Absolutely. With no Michael Barber or no Michael anything.
No,
So
that
it's-
somebody else is doing it and you taking the
Absolutely.
credit. Ki main bada
So
kaam
that's
kar
why,
raha
I
hoon.
mean, I know this by heart, and this is written from our hearts and from our team that this is what we want to do.
Okay, I'll just, another thing that recently, one of the entrepreneurs we have in the last cohort with us at NIC, so he teaches robotics to kids, right?
I was talking about that yesterday
And,
with someone.
and he went to Lodra, right? He was working in collaboration with the Tareen school system
Yes.
there.
Has to be the
And he
Tareen,
did a
yeah.
2-day science fair there. 61 state school kids turned up. 2,200 kids came
Yes,
those 2 days.
I read Ali Tareen's
right, to
tweets about
learn how to do simple robotics.
Absolutely.
So we need these things to happen.
Because
right? We
Faisal
need these
Sahib,
things to cascade.
I'm telling you, these things are coming,
Yeah.
and they're coming soon. The things you're talking about, I just talked to somebody yesterday that I was when I was at the World Education Forum. I specifically went to this one stall
Yeah.
and sat down and talked to them about the robotics. I spent like an hour there with them, and we are so far behind right now. World is moving at a different pace, and we are just left behind. right
Because I have noticed this
The reason
about
why I'm
children.
saying, the reason why I'm talking about it, because we don't want to create another divide between the
No.
state and the private schools, right? Because private school kids manage to get into workshops, and there are activities that they're doing.
Agreed.
It's the state school kids that get left behind.
Because that's the thing, I have noticed this about children from the underprivileged families, that sometimes they are not able to study the way they should and learn things. But when it comes to other things, like for instance, this robotic things, I have a kid in my house and he can't, even at the age of 7, he's still struggling with
You
the
need to
alphabet.
qualify this,
But
he's not
the
working for
way
you.
he play, at the age of 6, the way he used to play PlayStation 4 games, GTAs, it was unbelievable. Okay, inappropriate thing for a child to play, but still, he didn't really understand that there was something he shouldn't be doing. But it was unbelievable the way he just controlled the thing and the way he knew what to do. So if we just go the way
Absolutely.
you want these children to go,
Absolutely.
I think a
So
lot
what
can be
about
done.
what about technology in education? Technology in terms of the learning process.
Yes, that's what I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
doing hopefully in 1 year. We're going to, because everything we want to do, we just don't want to jump in it. We want to do our homework and we want to learn everything about it, then get into it. Hopefully, or not hopefully, inshallah ta'ala, in 2020 March, in the new year, we're going to start with about 400 schools.
Okay.
We're going to make labs there that are going to be with these pads, all right? These tablets with those.
Yeah.
The teacher is going to be teaching from the tab. They're going to have prescribed lessons.
Yeah.
We're going to try this.
Right.
And the problem in our system is we don't test the kids enough.
Sure.
We only
Test
do
in the sense,
no, test just to see if they're learning or
Yeah,
not.
yeah, of course.
Not the examination testing.
Not the
So data, not enough data is there of what they're learning, how they're
Exactly,
learning, how
and-
much they're learning, conceptually learning.
Exactly.
Right?
I mean, if we're saying this is a book, they will just cram it up right now, this is a book. Why is it a book? What is it made of? What does it do? This is how we're going to bring it. We're going to bring, because not only technology,
Yeah.
but conceptual thinking.
Sure.
But analytical thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to bring these. If you can give a kid like a sunflower and you tell him what it does and what, I mean, it is just the concept, and you have to let it go and let him respond or let her respond that what they think about it and what you can only give them direction. I believe that you can only give them direction and you have to get the rest out of them.
True. So we're going to take another break, and we'll come back. There are a couple of areas that I think we should be touching. So we will do that just after the break.
Right.
So we're going to take another short break and stay with us. Get yourself a cup of tea or coffee, and we will continue this discussion. Welcome back. So we're talking about education. We're talking about how to make things happen, how to make a difference.
And we're talking
what do
about
we need to-
lobia.
And we're talking about lobia. He hasn't even figured what I'm going to talk about.
How horrible
On the
lobia is.
University of Kentucky campus, you walked around with starched pants while everybody was wearing jeans.
Really?
Yes.
So
And you carried a briefcase and not a knapsack.
I don't know. I was just a little.
Nerdy.
Is that from the background of being an army brat that you had to do things in a certain way?
Let's call him a nerd.
No, it is. I
No,
don't
this
know.
is not a nerd.
Nerds are
no,
cool.
No, nerds.
You know, nerds are cool now.
Yeah, but this is not. This is dressing.
No, I was
debonair.
just dressed right in the sense
dressed
that
right.
I liked my things a certain way, and
Yeah.
I just.
You're very, very particular.
very
about
particular.
that.
I
Very
was.
particular.
I was. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I've always been particular.
I
About
think it's
My-
from the
my-
background. I'm an army.
It's
brat too.
got nothing to do with army. My
Your father
son,
was in 13 Lancers.
Yes,
right?
he was.
I'm from 6.
All right.
Yeah. So
my son just turned 19, and he likes to. All his friends are American and one Indian, and he wants to wear formal shoes. He wears button. He's a very laid back child. No, okay, young man, but
So he wears
wants
formal
to
shoes
wear.
with laces?
He wants to wear formal.
Or
Yes,
moccasins?
he wears
Laces or
no
moccasins?
laces, proper
Brogues,
formal
right,
shoes.
brogues,
Formal shoes. He says these are the two things I'm always going to be doing. Pants, they don't matter.
John
but
Scully,
button
right,
down
who was
shirt and
the president of
formal-
Pepsi, when he was hired by Apple, and it was Steve Jobs who actually reached out to him, convinced him. And when he went to work the first day, so he used to wear his suit and everything to Pepsi. So he said, "This is Apple, so I need to dress down." Right, so he went and got himself some Dockers.
Right.
And
And
he came to
turtlenecks.
no, he came to work, and he realized that he still, because his Dockers were pressed. Everybody else is walking around.
You know what you just said
Yeah.
about the sunflower? It just reminded me of this thing. Again, my only point of reference as far as education is concerned is my son. In his school in Lahore, this was in mathematics, not even in any other subject. There would be like the teacher would give them something, I don't know, but because my math is horrible, so I don't know what the technical term is. And they would tell them there are 3 different ways of doing this.
Yeah.
So do it the way you want to.
Right.
And they were just left alone to do the way they wanted to, as long as the method was right. It wasn't in the textbook. It was from the teacher. And as I said, I'm talking about mathematics, which is supposed to be 1, 2, 3. 2 plus 2 is 5, right? Or
No,
5.
kids
2
have
plus
to
2
be-
is 7 actually.
Kids have to be taught with practical things. They cannot be just in
Yeah,
books. It has
absolutely.
to be. It has to be hands-on.
Yeah.
It has to be with some kind of things that I have in my mind. I've told my team, they're working on it, that it has to be with practicality. Like if a child needs, you make a boat with them, you put it in water, you blow behind it. Why is it doing that?
Sure.
I mean, why are these big boats doing that? Why? How? I mean, you have to teach them these things.
This should have been the first question. Why education? What made you say that you wanted to be the Minister of Education since you chose?
I chose it, yes. Prime Minister asked me that would, because I said, I'll take education. And he goes, are you sure? I said, yes, I am. And that was it.
Why?
Because I think if you cannot work hard and do something that is the most important, then might as well not do it. The challenge is huge, and I love it, and I want it, and I want to do something. And you have to leave your mark in life.
But you were interested. You noticed what was happening around you.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, last 5 years, I was the member of Education Committee, Standing Committee.
And so it's a shadow.
Oh, absolutely. It was, no, the actual, I was an MPA. I was in opposition.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I was in opposition. And I was the member of Standing Committee Education, and I saw how horribly it was being run. And I said, this is an extremely...
And of course, you meet a lot of people in your constituency.
Yes.
And
tell us, Article 25A of the Constitution, right? It says it's the fundamental right of every child, right? Between age, 5 to 16?
5 to 16.
Yeah, to have free education.
Yes.
good education.
Free education to start with, and then of course, you know, the next step is the right kind of and the good education. Why do we talk about constitution, democracy, rights? You know, everybody wants their rights to be protected, especially politicians who land in a thick soup and say, my rights are being... What about the rights of the people who voted for you? What about the rights of the parents who have children still not in school because there's no access, or there's simply just not enough schools? You know, all those factors.
I'll tell you something, that in some places we even have enough schools. The children are not coming because they're not getting anything out of it. They know that as soon as the child becomes 10, 11, 12 years old, they say, okay, forget the school, let's go work, it'll make more money, this is not going to take you anywhere. When they realize it's not going to take you anywhere, that has to change, that mindset has to change. They have to be told that this is something that will take your kids somewhere in life. They will, this is a better future for them. This is a secure future for them. They will end up somewhere.
So this
That is a mindset you have to change.
So this has been done consciously.
No. But you have to have something in your hand. Not just talk. Talk is just not going to do it. You have to have quality. You have to have real things behind it.
No, so in a third world country like ours, where education could have made a world of difference in everything, do you think it has been done consciously?
Absolutely.
By all governments to keep the people the way they are?
Of course.
Absolutely.
You know?
That is what extractive politics is all about.
Once upon a time, I used to hear that about the feudal background, the feudal communities.
It is.
That they like to keep.
I don't know if you've read that book, Economic Hitman.
Yeah, of course.
What a great book, right? So,
and the other one to read with it is Why Nations Fail, right? Which says the primary reason why...
No more wars. This is the war.
This is
the actual war.
So this was
how
done
power is projected, right?
Because how is this... and I also read that you increased the budget. It's like, but it was a few billion, and now it's like in 328
But it's
billion.
not enough. It is only 3% of your...
And this is double.
But you people have...
Do you know how much Malaysia is spending? 21%.
21%.
Of their GDP. 21%.
That's...
I mean,
and
that
it shows. The ROI is there.
Absolutely.
The ROI.
And you know the things. Now, I'll tell you, because I did some research on this, that how many these countries are spending. When they fixed it, they took it so high for years. And now when it's fixed, do you know it's 7%? Finland is spending 7%.
Yeah. That's it.
Because they've fixed the system.
It pulls back.
Then you come to a standstill that consistent.
It pulls back.
You just have to stay consistent.
Maintenance.
Absolutely.
It's maintenance.
So
one of the
entire emphasis was on doing the cosmetic. Let's make the cities beautiful.
You can build as many, Mehr, you can build as many schools as possible. If you're not giving them quality, they will not come.
Yeah, that's true.
They
Well,
will
it doesn't
not come.
result in what they.
No, what you just
they
said
want,
that at the age of 12,
Okay, there
13,
is-
and as teenagers, they don't
there's
know
a
what
very
to do.
interesting study, SERP, right? Dr. Asim Khwaja, who was also at one time on the economic
Yes.
He
task
also
force.
resigned.
So it's his organization, and they've been doing a longitudinal study for 25 years,
All
right, in terms of education and looking at the factors of how it affects the economy and all that. And one of the key outcomes or the key insights from that is that parents have what is called an ability bias. They look at the ability of their child. If somebody has 3 children and one child is more able at the learning process, they want that child to stay in school and they take the other 2 out. Right?
How
And they-
unfair is that?
Yeah, it is. So,
unfair is
but the unfairness is you cannot blame those parents, right? Because the systems are such that it punishes the person who cannot learn at the pace of everybody else.
Right.
Where we know that that is never going to be the case. Right?
Right.
Every child is different. Right? Every child is going to learn at a different pace. Right? Every child will have a different inclination, right, to learn things in a different manner.
Right.
So how are we going to address this? Because this is now a empirical study that
Absolutely.
exists.
That has everything to do with teacher training. Everything.
Yeah, that's true.
Because the teacher has to realize which student in class is lagging behind and which one, because I've
And in
discussed
which
this.
way?
In which way? And how will this happen? When we bring technology and when you test kids every 2 weeks on short lessons, you realize कि कौन सा बच्चा is behind, कौन सा वाला is moving forward.
Yeah.
This is technology that will help you with this, because by just going to a class and talking to kids and teaching them everything is not going to, unless you test them on regular basis.
Yeah.
That will tell you exactly which kid is lagging where and what is the difference between his learning and the other ones. And pick those ones up, and they need more effort.
And beyond just, lip service, are you, your government, are you going to make
It's all lip
sure that
service.
children go to
They
school?
put me here, Mehr, for lip service. Am I not doing a great job at this lip service?
I said beyond the lip service that our nation is used to, is your government going to ensure that every child goes to school? Period. That's my biggest concern. That forget
Well, he
about what
said
comes.
it's not going to happen in
later.
5 years.
I know,
It's
but
going to happen over a
this-
period of
the
time.
step that I've taken,
Because
one more step
people
that
want
I've
to
taken.
send their children
I'll tell
to
you one more
school.
step that I've taken. We've always forced the teachers to go get kids and bring them to school. I am bringing a law, an act, to force the parents to send their kids.
Absolutely.
Because, and that is with the law department right now, I've already drafted, it's already
I'm
gone.
very happy to hear that.
We're going to fine them. We're going to stop the government subsidy. You will not get this health card if you don't send your kids to school. You're not going to get BISP if you don't
That's
send your
simple.
kids to school. You will be charged 500 rupees first, then it's 3 different levels of fine that we're going to fine you if you don't send your kids. It's parents' responsibility. Don't just leave it on the
Bilkul.
teachers.
I agree.
It's your responsibility to send your kids to school, and we will make sure that they do.
We have 60 seconds
All right.
left. So one single question. This is something I had asked in 2012 because I was involved with the campaign, right, regarding Article 25A. Where does the child of the head teacher of a school go? What schools are they going to?
Hopefully the same school that
They're not.
I kind of know that, but
So isn't that something to also look at?
it is absolutely. I mean, where are the children of all the bureaucrats are going? Where are the
Yeah,
children of all the
absolutely.
government servants are going? I mean, this is just sad. It's the
It
failure
is.
of the government.
It is.
I mean, Faisal, this is the entire disastrous failure of the government, that we ruined our education system. We did not take care of our kids, and we did not take care of our future.
Yeah. Because I think the problem was that people were not coming in for public service. Right? Those who were getting elected,
No, they were coming for
the
their own
intention was
self-gain.
not
You think?
public service.
You think?
Yeah, well,
I mean, you think?
I can't say anything more than that. You want everybody to be after me.
No, not everybody.
No, not everybody.
One
we're
group
gonna,
is enough at the
We're going
moment.
to come to the end of this program. We'd love to get you back on, right, after a while. And
Yes,
see,
let
how
us do some
things,
things.
how things are going.
Absolutely.
Love your tasbih, by the way.
Thank you very
Right,
much.
so is that just for worry or is that...
No, I do. I've been doing tasbih for about almost 20 years now. I don't, like when I'm sitting in my car, and when I was even living in
Right.
the US,
Yeah.
when I was traveling back and forth, I always used to do it.
Wonderful.
I never listened to the music.
My
ever.
concept, when we talk about religion, my concept of tasbih is actually a natural order of things. Right? How the universe has been set up, how everything
Absolutely.
does what it's supposed to do within that chain.
And it is kind of, for me, you said the readjustment of,
Yeah,
you know, you get
absolutely.
away from the world.
The chaos.
For
Get away
about
from-
20, 30, 40 minutes. And then you-
Absolutely. So that brings us to the end of the discussion today. I think I've enjoyed it. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Dr. Murad, right, is not just articulate. I think he's got a
All
lot
the
of
best.
lot of things that he's already looked at. So we will keep track. We will keep after him. We're not going to let him get away with just saying things here and they don't get done. So we will keep track of it. Thank you for staying with us, and we'll see you tomorrow.